Right guys, we are back on the Golf GTI in today's video, and if you remember in the last video I did on this a while ago, I did some Draggy runs and it underperformed massively. I did a 60 to 120 on the private runway and it took 5 or 6 seconds longer than it should have done stock. And that was noticeably obvious when I was driving it. It just took absolutely forever. So there's obviously an issue with it. It also has a bit of a lumpy idle, and so we need to investigate. So in today's video guys, we will be diagnosing and hopefully repairing the Golf 7 and getting it back up to basically a healthy stock standard before we can start fitting the modifications and then get it tuned. Now I kind of preempted and bought some upgraded parts because obviously we're going for the power anyway, so we need to, and I have bought some RS3 coil packs, so we've got 4 of those to fit, and I have also got some RS7, which is a good upgrade spark plugs. I kind of bought those thinking that would solve the issue, but I don't think it will. But we will need to fit those, and we will fit those anyway. So what we're going to do now is jump onto VCDS. I have that all plugged in ready, and I'll just take you through the issue and how I'm going to diagnose and repair it. Right, now if I just start the car up, we might be able to see the issue. So it will run absolutely fine, and then it will just all of a sudden go lumpy. It's not doing it now, but it is sporadic. If you rev it and then let off, it sometimes won't come down the revs and idle nicely. It will sometimes really lumpily come down. It's obvious. But sod's law, it's not going to do it when I film, is it? So, if we just head over to VCDS, I'll jump on there now. Right, so we're just going to engine, fault codes. Now, so we have, ignore that, what was that? No. So we've got camshaft positioner, bank 1, intake, slow response. What else have we got? Engine speed sensor, engine speed sensor. I mean, the chances are that those 3, camshaft positioner, bank 1, and the engine speed sensors, they're all probably the same fault. One thing let's see if it doesn't actually. Yeah, there you go. Went lumpy then. It's going to be hard for you to kind of see on camera because you can't see it go lumpy. I can only hear it, and it's going to be quite hard to come across on camera. So if we just go back and then go, let's go to advanced measured values. Let's go intake. Intake. There we go. Intake adjustment in bank 1, specified and actual. So if I rev it, these two should obviously match. Oh, there you go, look, it's going lumpy, look. So it should be at 10 and it's at 40 degrees. So there we go, that's obviously our slow response, look. So it should mimic this figure here. So there you go. Revs up and then back to 10. Did it that time and it didn't go lumpy. There you go. When it mimics it, it doesn't go lumpy. There you go. That must be our slow response. So it's not going to do it every time. There you go, gone lumpy again. And there we go. So that is our problem. Look. So our intake bank, it is a slow response. It is just taking too long to mimic the specified value and get back down to 10 degrees. So So I'm just going to pause the video there so I can thank today's sponsor for the video, which is Y-Food. Now, Y-Food is a meal replacement drink. It is not to be confused with a diet drink. I've been using these guys for well over a year. I have their powders and drinks and brownies all the time. When I'm out driving, they are just very easy to use and they taste great. Keeps you healthy as well. They have 26 different vitamins and minerals in. They're really easy to use. I like using the powder form quite a lot as well. You get 17 servings, up to 17 servings in a 1.5 kilo bag. All you've got to do is mix it with water. Now, using my discount code, which is Salvage10, you could pick, each meal will only cost you about £1.60, which is obviously way cheaper than picking up a sandwich, McDonald's, whatever, fast food. A lot healthier as well, and they have around 400 to 500 calories depending on whether you have the drink or the powder. So they make complete sense to use, they keep you full, they're cheap, and they taste good. If you're new to Y-Food, I recommend the starter kit. All you got to do is click the link in my description below, head over to their website, put it in your basket, add my discount code, which is Salvage10 for 10% off, guys, and go check them out for yourselves. And you'll see why I've been using them for well over a year. So thanks again to Y-Food for sponsoring today's video. So we've just been on VAGCOM. We can clearly see using the measured values that there is a slow response from the intake camshaft adjuster valve. Now, easy way to have a look. There's two camshafts in this. We've got exhaust cam, intake cam. Easy way to know which one is which is the fact that we've got our inlet manifold here, exhaust manifold here. Therefore, our inlet cam is this one here. So it says inlet slow response, and in the end here, there's the 3 or 4 bolts, 3-bolt cover here. And that gives us access to the end of our camshaft, and there is like a valve in here which is our camshaft adjuster valve. It just screws into the end of the camshaft. I believe it's oil pressure fed, and that is what basically adjusts our timing to optimize the power further up the rev range. Now that would explain why when I got to like 100, the GTI just completely flat spotted and took ages to get to 120. Turns out, yeah, it's got a problem with it, and that would explain why we have that problem. Now, it could be a lack of oil pressure in the valve, or it could be too much oil pressure. It does say slow response, doesn't really tell me which one it is. So it either could be blocked and not releasing oil quick enough, or it could just be defective and not allowing pressure to build up. So what we're going to do, it's fairly easy to do. I'm going to remove these 3 bolts here, pull this cover off, and then it should be the valve that screws into the end. I believe it undoes clockwise, so it's opposite to a normal thread. You need a special tool to get it out as well, which I have bought, which turned up this morning. We'll remove it and we'll have a good look at it to see if there's an issue with it. So because it's fairly easy to do, that is the first thing I'm going to do, guys. So let's get it out. Right, now in classic Saving Salvage style at the moment, I seem to be 3 or 4 weeks between videos, and in between my videos I seem to jump 2 or 3 weeks as well, and that's exactly what's just happened. I'm not actually 100% sure what you've just seen yet because I haven't edited it. All the footage is still on the camera. I have been mental busy, as I keep saying, which is why the lack of videos. But there is a reason why I have only done 3 or 4 videos in the last couple of months. It is a very good reason, and if you want to know what it is, it's not car related. If you want to know what it is, let me know in the comments and I'll maybe do a video on it. It's not important, it's just if you want to know why I've been working ridiculously hard for the last couple of months. Now anyway, back to the Golf GTI. So I think you last saw me where I was fitting the valve to the camshaft, the oil regulator valve to the camshaft in the intake cam. I did remove the old one. I've got it here. I couldn't actually see a problem with it. I'll show you here, look. It actually looked fine. Filter didn't look blocked. Nothing was broken. Spring was still working on it. So I wasn't actually confident that was going to be the problem, but I kind of eliminated everything else because the magnet that sits on the intake and the exhaust, they are identical, so I swapped those over and it was still faulting, it was still slow response on the intake cam. So I kind of ruled out the magnet, which only really leaves me with that oil valve. So I kind of just like, I don't think it's faulty, but I'll just replace it anyway. It was 40-50 quid. I did stick a new one on and it did still do it. So that was when I have then been 2 or 3 weeks driving again, haven't looked at it since. Now today I was just doing a little bit more research and I thought, well, I haven't done a filter change. I've obviously put new oil in it. I didn't put great oil in it. I just put some 5W30 fully synthetic oil in it, but it was cheaper oil because obviously I didn't know if the engine ran. I'm just gonna swap arms. Yeah, so I didn't know if the engine ran, so I put the oil in, didn't change the oil filter just to see if it did. Obviously the engine runs. So now I thought, well, maybe I should do a proper oil and filter change, put a new filter in, decent oil, and see if it is oil related. So I changed the oil filter, I've put some Miller's 5W30 Nano Drive oil in, so pretty much the best oil you can get. And I've put the correct amount in, not according to the dipstick, because obviously we've changed the sump for a metal sump, and I'm not 100% sure if the dimensions of it are exactly the same as the plastic one, because obviously that could affect the dipstick level. So I didn't go off the dipstick, I put in, I think these take 5.7, well, I've read 5.7 litres, I've put in 5.8, so that should be fine. Now I've just revved it up, I've taken it down the road, I've done 2 miles in it, and it hasn't done it yet. So it'd be a bit weird if it maybe was the oil, or possibly the oil filter. The oil filter didn't look blocked, so I don't really know at this stage. I might just be lucky and it hasn't faulted yet, but it's a little bit confusing as to what. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to go on a longer road test. I'm not going to take you with me because Cos seen it before, but I'm going to now do a longer road test and I'm going to take my Draggy and try and do another 100 to 200 and compare the graph, see if it's doing it. I have just come back from the 2 mile road test and there are no faults for the engine. So it's an interesting one at the minute. So yeah, I'm going to go out for a drive again now and I'll catch you back in a second. Right, interesting update. Obviously I'm not going to film all the diagnosis I'm doing because I could spend an hour, 2 hours trying to diagnose it, and that's without trying to film. And obviously a 2 hour diagnosis video is going to be pretty boring, so it's easy if I just do some of the work and just tell you what I've done for this instance. So it's a bit of a weird one. I think I fixed it. Now I've got some Draggy times. Let me have a look now. I'll put them up the screen as I go. But before, so when I initially took the car out, I did some runs and I got a 0 to 60. I don't think I did a 0 to 60. I did a 100 to 200 on my private bit of land. I got a 23.08 second 100 to 200 when I first took the car out. Now that is a good 5 seconds off where it should be, and I don't know if that 5 seconds is for a DSG car or a manual car. There's probably, I'm going to guess, around about a second difference between the two. Maybe not quite as much, I'm not 100% sure. But so obviously that is a problem. And I also got a quarter mile time of, no I didn't, I just did the 100 to 200. So I started investigating. I had a camshaft slow response, changed the adjustment valve in the camshaft. Didn't think it made a difference, still not 100%. I've also changed the engine oil. I've put some Miller's Nano Drive oil in, and I've also changed the oil filter. And I took it out on another run. It seemed to be okay, because when I was revving the car before, it would rev, and then it would do exactly what the fault code said. It was a slow response from the intake camshaft, and so it was taking a while to, I guess, lose oil pressure, and that was causing the car to judder at low RPMs because the intake was obviously maybe, I think, open further than it should be, which is putting too much air in, and it's not enough fuel, so it was engine starting to judder. I'm guessing that's why I was doing it. And so I took it out after I'd replaced the valve and the oil, and it was better, but it was still a little bit hesitant. So I actually did a 100 to 200. This time it was 21 seconds, so it was 1.6 seconds quicker than before. Again, I'll put the graph up, but you can still see, look, once I've changed into, I don't know if that's third or fourth gear, it still comes, it's still flatlining a little bit. It's not, the power's not fully there. So, and I'm still a good sort of 3 seconds off what it should be stock. So I've come back and I've had a look around. I can't find anything wrong. The adaptation valves, the actuators, the magnets, there's nothing wrong with those because I've swapped them over and it doesn't, the fault doesn't follow the valve. I've checked the wiring's all fine. I've checked, as I say, oil. There is a possibility that it needs a decoat, that the valves are carboned up, but that wouldn't give me a slow response code on the camshaft. That would just be a lack of power. So I was starting to get a bit confused about what it could be. Now, I've just gone through VAGCOM and I saw there's a basic setting, and there was a basic setting for the intake camshaft. So I've just done the basic setting, it completed it correctly, and I've taken it out again. And it seems to have fixed it, because it's now, it feels a lot smoother, lower RPM. Now, before I did the basic setting, I got a 0 to 60, again I'll put it up, of 8.07 seconds, which is obviously a good 1.5 seconds slower than it should be for this car. And after I've done the basic setting, I've gone out again, and as you can see, look, I've just about got a 7 second, which is still half a second down, but that could just be, it could have just been a bad launch. I don't think, because if I go over to the quarter mile that I've done, before the basic setting, look, I got a 15.5 quarter mile with a speed of 150 kilometers an hour. And then after the basic setting, look, you can see I've knocked off 0.7 of a second. And I'm up 6 kilometers an hour. I didn't go on to do the 100 to 200 because it's very difficult on the private runway. It's hard to do every time, so I didn't actually get on to do that. But I'm guessing it was probably going to be, if it was a second quicker to 60, it's going to be a good 2 seconds quicker on the 100 to 200. I'm going to guess. So that puts me down to 19s, which is about right for a stock car. And also the quarter mile time for a stock GTI is about 14.6 seconds, and I've done it in 14.88. So, and that was with the 7 second 0 to 60 as well. So I think I fixed it. I'm not 100%, but it's driving okay now. And obviously the times have visibly improved quite dramatically over pre-basic setting. So I think it's okay. So now I'm going to modify it. So that is it for today's video, guys. It was a diagnosis video, which I think I've diagnosed and fixed it. We'll see in time to come. But I have, as I've said before, I've got all the bits to do the modifications. So in the next video, guys, I am going to fit the intercooler and the intake system with the, I think I've got a Turbo Technics intake hose as well. All that should probably add 15 to 20 brake horsepower without it being mapped in. So it'll be actually quite interesting to fit those, and we'll go out and do some more Draggy times to see if we can improve on those times again. And then it will be a case of, I'll take it for MOT it, then we'll fit the turbo back system, high pressure fuel pump. There's some secondary injectors I need to fit. I'll probably take the inlet manifold off to see if it does need a carbon clean. We've also got 4-bar map sensor to fit as well, and then it will just be a case of tuning it. So I think it's all go. Don't quote me, but we'll find out in the next video, guys. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being patient for this one, because everything's dragging on forever, and I shall see you hopefully in a few days on the next video. So as always, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.